The Cursed, Part 2. There was a girl, Olivia, brutally abused by her father, who was a drunkard. She tried numerous times to escape from the house, but every time she did, her father caught her, twisting and squeezing out her hopes of running away and freeing herself every passing second. After her mother died, which was too because of her father, would come back home drunk every night, pick fights, and end up beating both of them. And in the end, she became so weak and ill that she could not bear it any longer and killed herself. They couldn't do anything as the father was a lawyer. They knew that even if they tried, it would be useless. They were helpless. She apologized to Olivia, blaming herself that she couldn't do anything to help her out, and that she was not a good mother, but a coward, which didn't help, of course. After her mother was gone, Olivia was responsible to do all the household work, even a preteen. She had to take all the burden, from cleaning the whole house to make food for her father and another woman whom he married after his wife's death. Just after a month, Olivia now lived like a slave in her own home. Oh well, it was never her home. It was just a place where she was dying every single day. She was never sent to school. She wasn't even allowed to go outside the house just to buy milk and grocery, which even if she was late by a minute, punished. Punished how? Brutally beaten until she's bleeding. For real, how can someone be so cruel? Doesn't he have a bit of mercy on his own daughter? Doesn't he have a heart? He's pathetic. One day, while Olivia was coming back from the grocery store, she got bumped into someone and dropped all her vegetables. She got scared as she was getting late. The kid put the vegetables back into her bag while he helped her to get up. Hey, are you okay? I'm sorry, I was in a hurry. She just freed herself from his grip and looked down. Then she quickly started running away from there, as she knew how her father would react if she was to be late. But he grabbed her arm. Hey, don't be scared. Why are you running like that? She stopped and looked at the boy. He was about the same age as her. She had never talked to anyone, as her father forbade her to do so. She stood still and silent. I am Ben. What's your name? He asked, coming closer to her, while raising his brows. Uh, uh I, I'm Olivia, she mumbled, loud enough for him to hear. Oh, that's such a cute name. Friends, Olivia? He reached out his hand. She looked at his hand, and when it hit her, the thought lit up her mind. There was a shine in those eyes which was never seen until now, maybe a glimmer of hope. Hope of finding a friend. She hesitated at first, but then she shook his hand, as she smiled, which was like seeing the sunshine at night. Friends, she smiled the sweetest, and seeing her smile, he smiled too. Good. That sad face doesn't suit you. Why don't you smile more often? Her face dropped when she realized it, that she didn't deserve it. She didn't deserve to be happy. That was her fate. Hey, don't, Ben assured her. See, if you'll be sad, I won't talk to you. He made a dramatic pout. Seeing that face, Olivia let out a laughter. Not because it was funny, but because she found it adorable. You are so good, Ben, she admits while Ben looked up at her laughing. He stared at her face. You're cute, Olivia, he smiles. Hearing that, Olivia blushed. She took a step back and hid her face with her little hands. Huh? Ben grabbed her hands away from her face. Why are you so red? He looked confused. She felt shy and shook her head slightly. Haha, it's nothing. Haha, you look like a strawberry. He laughed. Oh, and I love strawberries. She became even more red while he just laughed. Then he looked at his watch. Oh, sorry, I have to go now. See ya later, Strawlivia. He runs back. She quickly looked up to see his vanishing figure, which she tried to stop but stopped herself instead. He waved his hand from a distance. She looked at him and waved back. "Goodbye," she said to herself. As he was gone, she closed her eyes with that smile plastered on her face. It was the first time in her life that she felt something like this. It was the first time she felt happy. So this is how happiness feels like. She thought to herself, experiencing the new emotion, forgetting about all the pain and suffering in her life. But then she realized it. Widening her eyes, she picked up her bag and ran back to her house. She knew something bad, really bad, was going to happen. As she reached her house, she quickly got inside and closed the front gate. Shivering with fear, she tiptoed her way to the kitchen, placed the vegetables there, and went upstairs to her room. She closed the door, letting out a sigh of relief as her father didn't seem to be at home. Her stepmother never stayed at home after her father would leave for work. Sometimes she even saw her bringing unknown men at home, which she'd forbid her to tell her father about, and giving threats that if she did, she'll make him beat her. Olivia was living in that hell where she had to obey all these orders because she knew that they'll give her pain if she didn't. So she did. Suddenly, she heard the front door open and then lock. Her heart started racing. She quickly got down to welcome her parents. Looked like they were both out for dinner. It was way past 8 in the evening. "Welcome home, father, mother," she sat on her knees and greeted them, which she could never without stuttering. But she got a rather unexpected response from her father. She thought he hadn't had any idea of her being late. He did. A fierce slap landed on her face while she fell on the ground. Father took out his belt and started hitting her. She cried out in pain, while her stepmother avoided it all and getting inside her room started removing her makeup. She begged her father to stop. She cried and cried, but he didn't listen. He had never. Her head was bleeding now. She had no energy to fight back, so she just lay there, taking it all, accepting her fate. She was told by her stepmother that it was her fate. Karma was giving her all of this, and finding no answer, questioning herself what she did, she accepted it to be her fate, because she had no other choice. Getting bored of it, her father stopped and threw himself on the couch, sleeping instantly because of the unconsciousness caused by alcohol, while she just lay there, crying and crying. As slowly her crying turned into sobs, with all the energy left in her little body, she got herself up and went inside her room, somehow. But she had to, or her father would start beating her again if he found that she didn't move a muscle from how he left her. The incident just happened wasn't anything new. She was used to it now, and all she could do was waiting for it to be over. She wished to die, but then she'd remember something: happiness. Months had passed like this, and the bond between Olivia and Ben had just got stronger from the little meetings they had when Olivia would secretly escape from her house on Sundays when her father would be totally unconscious because of partying on the Saturdays, and also while she'd go out to buy the groceries. There was a park near the grocery shop. That's where they'd sit on a swing and enjoy their happy little moments. "What is it?" asked Olivia one day as they were sitting on the swing. "You can see that it's a teddy bear, silly." She looked at him amused. But why? Would you get it for me?" she asked, slowly tracing the teddy bear with her tiny fingers. Huh? Replied Olivia in frustration. We are best friends, right? So it's a gift from me. Just remember that I care for you if no one else does. Always." Ben smiled. Olivia felt like crying. It was too much for her. The way Ben treated her, she never thought anyone ever would. With tears in her eyes, she looked at him and held his hand. "Thank you." She wiped her tears. "Thank you so much, Ben. You're just the best thing I have." She smiled. She looked up at him. "Never leave me. Please." I will always. Um, I, I don't know. Just don't go. Ben chuckled at her cuteness and patted her head. I won't, he told her. Promise? Promise. They both smiled at each other. Then she looked at the teddy. This is so pretty. How did you get it? She asked excitedly. I found it in my attic. I didn't even know I had it. Oh, what is that scar on your face again? Oh, just fell from the stairs again. She looked down. When are you gonna take care of yourself, you silly Via? She looked at him while he laughed. They both laughed. Okay, I'll see you later. See you here next time. Time to go, said Ben, looking at his watch, which Olivia hated the most. Not his watch, but what he said. It was the last thing Olivia would want to hear from him. She just wanted him to leave. Yeah. They got down from the swing. Ben was about to leave that he stopped in his way and slowly walked back towards her. She looked at him confused. Ben got down to her level and gave her a peck on her cheek and ran away, saying it was a goodbye kiss. Well, she just stood there frozen. Such a cute and innocent, pure affection between the two little souls, unaware of all the ugliness and brutality of this world. This cruel world. I won't, he told her. What, really? Yeah, I heard it was due to getting hit by a truck. It was just a 10-year-old little child. It's such a grief. Olivia was buying groceries as she heard some people talking to themselves. Yes, I'm just going there. Let's go, I'm sorry for the family. She found it suspicious, so she asked one of them about what they were talking of. Or if it was Ben? No, it can't be, she thought. What? Yes, it's such a painful thing to happen that the little boy is no more, said the middle-aged man. What do you mean? Wait, what do you mean? I don't get it. Olivia stuttered. He got hit by a truck last evening while coming back from his arts classes. When the driver was drunk. He might be in jail now, but that's what he deserves, that bastard. But that won't bring the poor boy back now, said he, shaking his head in disbelief. So, Ben is dead.